We're talking about. It's not my show.
It is broadcasting live now. Thank you, and welcome to Prep Studying Network's Google Plus Preppers Hangout on the 27th of February, the Prepper Community Hangout. And we've got a few people that are trying to come over from Skype. Can somebody Skype to them and let them know that the show has started, because I can't reach over that far. And pass them the link. So yeah, today we are going to talk about EDCs for women and for men, and because most of the EDCs that I see posted are men, and they've got those Maxpedition bags and everything, and it's like, women, we carry purses. So we're going to do the infamous purse scum and try to see what those of us that have the EDCs. But first, I'm going to put Rich on the spot and show us the man's EDC. What do you carry?
The man's EDC. What do I carry? Well, I carry actually two bags. And the one that I normally carry that I have on myself, I have one in the car, but this is actually my briefcase, okay? It's a soft-sided briefcase, and I usually carry all my other goodies in this regular business briefcase. But the other thing that I do carry in the briefcase is this knife. This knife stays in the briefcase with me most of the time. It is my Rat 3. And on myself, I carry a flint and steel striker, which I can go grab out of the drawer where I put all the stuff I take off every day, my carry EDC, which is 2 pocket knives, a flint and steel striker, which is like my fire striker. But in my EDC, I carry this knife. I also wear every day around my ankle a pair bracelet, but I don't like things around my wrist. I have a watch on one hand usually. On the other hand, I have my diabetic bracelet. And so around my right leg, I usually wear a paracord anklet, which is just a Cobra Weave bracelet, except it's large enough to go around my ankle. That's the consistency. Along with that and a bottle, whether it be a pop bottle or a water bottle or whatever kind of bottle, I always have some kind of container to transport liquid with me. Those three things on the areas that I go to, which are no more than probably 50 miles from my house. And in the back of my car, if you watch my videos, you'll see my get home bag. But those are the things I normally carry. Oh, also in my briefcase, there is a flashlight, ink pen, stylus, and laser pointer. It does all four things. It's a stylus for my smartphone. It has an ink pen where you pull it apart and use the ink pen. It also has a flashlight and a laser pointer all in that one, and that stays in the bag. So those are the things that I normally carry on me. On myself, I carry one knife in my back pocket, one knife in my front pocket on the opposite sides. So if one arm's injured and I can't get to it, I can get to the other knife on the other side. Carry a fire striker around my neck. Carry a regular Bic lighter in my pocket, although I do not smoke. And I usually have a bandana in my pocket because I'm of the old crew who blows my nose in one of these bad boys half the time. So that is also... With those things, I'm pretty well set for any situation because of my skill levels. Now, your skill levels are going to make a huge difference in what you're doing and where you're at. Now, if I have to go into a courtroom or something like that, of course, the knife has to come off. The knife has to come out of the bag. Those are all kept separate, which I know you, Avon, know all about, taking sharp, pointy things off, even if it's just your, as you told me earlier, your fire steel. They gave you questions on your flint striker or your
Yes.
fire steel thing.
Yes.
So that's what I carry in my man purse, my MERS, whatever you want to call it. But because of all the paperwork I have to take with me every day, that's why I carry the briefcase. And It's just as easy to throw those light items in the side of the briefcase, plus the things you normally carry on you. One other thing I did not mention is 90% of the time, not always, but 90% of the time, depending on where I'm going, unless I'm going to a Walmart, which then I lock it in the van, if I take the van with me, or in the trunk of the car, is my personal carry sidearm. And I have my CCW, and I normally carry a sidearm with me. But those are on my person, not in my bag. And I would suggest to any woman, do not carry a concealed weapon in your purse, because the first thing they're going to grab is your purse. Once they grab your purse, not only do they have your purse, they also have your weapon. And if they grab your weapon or grab your purse from you, and they're there with you, and they open the purse up, they may take the weapon out, and you may be in a worse situation than you began with. So a knife in your pocket, a knife around your neck, somewhere else on you besides something in your purse. So you have some kind of pepper spray, keys with a D-ring to hook on your belt loop or something else. These items don't do you any good for defensive purposes, if they're in your purse. And you know that the item you need the most is where, ladies, in your purse?
At the bottom.
There you go. So remember that. Keep your defense weapons in your hands or on your person. When you go out in places like parking lots and other things, that defense weapon should be in your hand. Okay, so be it keys or a spray bottle, spray or whatever, or your hand in your purse, with your purse on your body, so that if they grab the purse, you still have the weapon in your hand. So just a few ideas, and nothing is ever foolproof. And that purse, well, let's just put it this way. I've been hit with a few of those, and I don't know what y'all carrying them bad boys, but that can be a dangerous weapon as it is. So.
Yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth.
Now I'll let you pick on somebody else.
Uh-huh. Now, Mike, do you have your EDC stuff with you?
I don't normally carry an EDC bag, per se, but I do now carry a really good buck knife that my good friend Rich sent me, which is pretty decent, solid. So I always have that. I always make sure that I have a lighter, because I am a smoker, and a smoker without his lighter is just not a smoker. But I always do keep a lighter with me. Now, I am a scooter rider. Mine is not one of the little bitty ones. You do have to have a license for it, but I do keep a small kit in there. And it has basically a flashlight. It has a multi-tool and basic knife with it. It also has a fire striker, and that stays in my scooter. If I'm in my wife's car, I do keep a small bag. Basically, you would call a get-home bag. But on my person, usually, as long as I've got a knife and a lighter, I can pretty much almost darn near do anything. So it's kind of simple and easy, but it's nothing really difficult or extravagant. But that's what I carry on me.
Okay.
And coffee beans.
Love those coffee beans. You need to send me some. Now, for myself, I will be going in a bit. You'll see I've got the table, just some of this stuff. But I want to talk for one hot second about these two boxes. Because you brought the topic up. I will be quitting smoking. So, starting next week, the doctors have said the patch that they have does not have the same amount of nicotine as what I'm smoking. So, in addition to the patch, I have to chew this nasty red gum.
It is nasty.
Yes,
well,
and you don't chew it like you normally chew gum. So I'll also have to start racking up on some serious gum.
Well, Mike's wife has to stop smoking, and Mike said he's going to quit smoking. He said he's going to quit smoking because she has to quit smoking for medical reasons, and I quit smoking 12, 15 years ago because I got stuck overseas, and cigarettes in other countries are not like cigarettes here in the United States. And you learn right away if you're used to your Winstons and stuff like that. And I thought I was pretty good because being on base, I got Lucky Strikes and Camels and Winstons and all those good things. And, you know, and then turned around and they give you like a Turkish cigarette.
And what was that like?
You don't, you know, you hear people talk about smoking certain cigars and you can taste the earth that those animals, the earth that the plants are grown in. Well, you can taste the animal dung they use to plant those plants, and whether you get them overseas, you can. It's like lighting a well, I don't want to say camel, but it's like lighting a goat on fire and smoking through as you know what. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, they have some rough cigarettes. No wonder them people are so mean over there. Yeah, them cigarettes are bad.
We need to send them some menthol cigarettes, right? Just here, send them over there.
Well, menthol cigarettes. No, I'm sorry. No, I was a cigarette smoker, and I smoked cigars and other stuff. Menthol cigarettes. Why don't you just light a piece of gum?
Might as well.
I love you to death, but why don't you just smoke a piece of gum? Come on. Right?
We were talking earlier about the fact that I am addicted just as much, if not more so, to the menthol
Yeah.
as the actual nicotine. Because if I'm out of cigarettes and I were to ask somebody, hey, you got an extra cigarette, and they happen to be smoking, say, Marlboros or some other ungodly, unmenthol cigarette, I will say thank you, because it's like, okay, I need to get some nicotine in my system, but I will silently, under my breath, be like, you are the meanest, evilest person on earth.
What are those little tiny skinny cigarettes?
Oh, the
Virginia Slims?
They have the Virginia Slims, the more menthol 120s, Misties. I don't actually like the Misties. They're too light.
My wife used to smoke those Virginia Slims. I'm like, why? You tape 3 of them together and make a real cigarette. What are you doing wasting money on that thing?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm a stress smoker, and if they made a full flavor in a 120 in a generic, I would have bought it. I used to smoke the Moore's menthol 120s.
Did you say a stress smoker?
Yeah, I'm a stress.
Honey, if I smoked because of stress, my cigarette would look like this. You know? Yeah, no.
But, yeah, I've got to find something else to deal with the stress. So to keep my hands busy and my mouth busy. Because usually with that cup of coffee, I'm smoking the cigarette, and yeah.
I quit smoking over a month ago, and I was just drinking about a half a pot to a pot a day of coffee. I am now making 2 pots a day.
She's now chewing coffee beans, drinking 4 pots of coffee, and she has Juan Valdez's phone number personally. That's what she's doing.
No, but I'll tell you what, though. I used to use the International Creamer Delight. I love my French vanilla, but I went off of that, and I am almost to nothing but black coffee now.
I thought you said you drank coffee.
I do.
That stuff that comes in a can is not... Mike, show him what coffee looks like.
It's coffee beans.
Yeah, that's what coffee looks like. Coffee doesn't come in a can.
Oh, just stop it, Mike. He's eating.
Hey, what is that?
Is there a prize in the package? Did you find something?
No, I wish it was like Cracker Jacks, though.
Oh.
Oh, it's a freshener of some sort.
Oh, okay. Does it say one of them coffee beans got legs, man? That's a...
See it in there?
It's the desiccant
Yeah.
thing to keep it the moisture out.
I feel like one of those horses, they put the milk in there and just start.
The nose bag to eat.
You guys move on. I'll be right back. I gotta get a soda.
Okay.
Would you like your coffee, Rich?
Yeah. We're sending Rich out for coffee. Okay. And Mom, Castle Mom, we can't see, but we can hear you, right?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Do you have any smoking?
Do I have any smoking problems? Well, yeah, I do. Except my biggest problem is two different doctors, 10 years apart, two different cities, told me to continue smoking.
Oh, wow.
It keeps me out of the hospital.
Okay.
Every time I have tried to quit smoking, I begin to go into a deep sleep that it is very difficult for me to wake up out of. And they told me that it had something to do with my hemoglobin.
Oh,
Don't ask me why they say that. Don't ask me where or how. They tested it they couldn't get my hemoglobin up to normal levels, and they let me have a cigarette, and about a half hour later, my hemoglobin levels rose.
wow.
So I have no clue.
First time I ever heard that one.
Yeah.
Many people don't believe it. It's questionable even with me. But all I know is the effects it has on me when I try and stop. So I smoke.
Yep. Okay. That's interesting. Has anybody else ever heard of that? That's be one to check.
Nope, I haven't.
Okay.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
They told me, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with the keeping smoking. It's the stop smoking that's.
Well, I had my 14-year-old the other day said, when are you guys going to quit smoking? I said, when you guys are moved out of the friggin' house. When you guys are gone is when I actually probably will quit. Because right now you guys got me stressed and bald. Teenagers.
Yeah.
I have noticed that I do smoke more when I am stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that.
But I'm like, my husband's insurance is offering us $600 discount. That if we quit smoking, and
I'm sorry.
So my husband's quitting and I'm quitting, and I called 1-800-QUIT-NOW. So I have a telephone buddy. I actually joined one of the quit smoking communities here on Google Plus, and hopefully between those two, the gum and the patch.
I can't take either one of those. I have tried them. I get rashes from the patches, and the gum makes my gums and mouth swell.
Oh, wow. Now, my thing is just, it's nasty tasting, but my husband got the new flavor called Fruit Chill, and it's not as bad as the other. I mean, all nicotine gum seems to taste nasty. And I also found out I'm not supposed to chew the nicotine gum like you chew normal chewing gum. You're supposed to chew, and then tuck it up somewhere and in your mouth and just let it sit there.
Yeah, it looked like you got a big chew in your lip.
Yeah, and I didn't do that in school when they didn't allow for you to have gum in school. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember those days. But I was never able to successfully, put it up on the side of your cheek. I never was able to successfully do that. So I'm thinking I'm just going to have to do with like the hard candies and peppermint spearmint. So any gum manufacturers, you want somebody to sample your goods, send them there.
They do sell the big bags of the Lifesavers, the mint little
Yeah.
candies. the big honking bags at Walmart.
I will be racking up on those, I think. Simply because absolutely necessary. And actually that is a prepping type item, because for the majority of us who are being told by our doctors, when are you going to quit? Health-wise, you know, I've been smoking for 30 years. A little more than 30 years. My 18-year-old self could have beat in a race the 20-year-old self, because in between 18 and 20 is when I started smoking. And my 20-year-old self could definitely beat myself now at 50 in a race, simply because I've been smoking for 30 years. And, well, if the grid goes down, I need to be able to at least walk where, you know, around the neighborhood without being winded. I'm not going to hike lots and, you know, miles and miles and miles, but I do need to be able to at least, you know, walk around, visit to, you know, the neighbors, checking on them, and getting out in the yard and not having to be winded because I'm trying to do something. So it's good for the health.
Yeah.
And Mike D, is that you?
I think it's working.
You think it's working?
I think
Is your
it's
camera
working.
not working?
You know, they said basically that I had to quit smoking, so I just grabbed a bucket of water and put myself out.
Ah, the marvelous Mike D. Is your camera's not working, Mike, or?
No, I just rather remain in the dark.
Okay, he's practicing for when the grid goes down, folks.
I think I forgot to pay my electric bill.
Okay. Light a candle.
Now, the thing is, I've heard some people basically really like the patch, but unfortunately you have to put some stuff in the middle and roll it up real tight and then light one end.
Is that what you're supposed? Well, I better take the. They gave me a box of these patches. I thought you put them all on at once.
That was it, man. You basically look like a Tic Tac board, and it just didn't quite work, I'm sure. But
Yeah. It was good for the first 5 minutes, but after that.
also, there's a cumulative thing too. I mean, it's like you stick it on, and it takes a while for it to work. So I think what it is, it actually has to get like into your bloodstream up to a certain level before you're finally not like fiending out for that cigarette. But it's not like waking up in the morning, grabbing that cup of coffee, and light one up. It's not going to be like that whatsoever. I mean, I quit. I quit back in 1991, and I'd smoked basically through the better part of high school, and it was not easy. But you know, it's just basically like positive reinforcement on my part. I just, you know, mentally kept just riveting myself in the thought pattern of, if you do this, you're going to get sick, you're going to feel worse, your wind is going to get even worse, you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do, and potentially you might basically have a lung explode on you from like some form of, you know, major ailment.
Avon,
Yes.
ask Mike what he carries.
What do you carry for your EDC, Mike?
Okay, my standard carry, and I've actually gotten busted a number of times on this one, almost. It's kind of one of those picture things. If you guys look it up, you'll find it online. But there is something known as the Spyderco Spider Card, and it's basically a wallet knife. It's barely 5 millimeters thick. It's sheet metal construction with a fairly good stainless steel blade. It is roughly the size of a credit card. I have that tucked into my wallet at all times. If you try to fly with that tucked in your wallet at all times, you might encourage the TSA to go, "Why are you making our bells ring like a church choir?" But that's one thing I always have on my person, and it's just one of those things I always tend to have in my wallet. I have a seriously major kick-ass Cordura wallet that I've carried around forever. I've actually drove it off the roof of my car. I had cars run it over. I recovered it, and I think I may have put scuff marks on the guy's tires when he ran it over. But that's usually almost always on my person. I always have a flashlight. In this case, I'm carrying what's known as the Innova Bolt.
Okay.
It is not a Fenix. It is not a Surefire. It's roughly about a $40 flashlight. It's pretty tough. It has a quartz lens on it. Runs on AA batteries, so I don't have to chase down 123s or anything crazy like that. I always have my Swiss Army knife, Swiss Champ on me because it's got a pair of pliers and all the other good stuff. It wouldn't be too unusual for me to have like a Bic lighter on board, and I've always got a carabiner. Always. I mean, that's what my keys are hanging from. And funny story. I mean, I was working actually at a BMW dealership some years ago, and somebody had lost the hook for the engine hoist. So the tech's looking at me. He's like, "Well, what can we do?" I was like, "Well, dude, you got any climbing rope? Do you have anything like substantial you could bolt to this thing?" And he's like, "No, I don't have anything." I was like, "Well, here, I took my keys off the carabiner," and I was like, "Well, just put this on her." And he's like, "Is that strong enough?" I was like, "Dude, that'll pick up the whole car. Trust me, it's gonna have no problem hanging this engine up overnight." And so basically, they had to requisition the part, but I saved this guy from looking at an engine and not being able to get it out of the car.
Wow. So carabiners are now. Was it like mountain climbing carabiner?
Exactly. It's not one of these ones that doesn't say on the side, not for climbing. This one actually says, go ahead and climb with this. It's got a shear strength of about 5,000 pounds and a working load of 1,800 pounds.
Okay.
Basically what that means is you can drop 20 people all at once off the mountaintop and it'll stop them.
Cool.
Because there's always a safety factor involved. I mean, when you basically come tear-assing down the side of a mountaintop and you need the rope to, there's two kinds of climbing rope. You have dynamic and you have static. The dynamic rope stops you dead. You do Wile E. Coyote and it cuts you in two. The dynamic rope actually has a built-in stretch amount. For every foot, it'll stretch X amount. That's why you see those guys fall off the mountaintop and they kind of play like yo-yo for a second or two. But the shock load that goes through the carabiner or through the piton is such that, a 200-pound man falling at 120 miles an hour, at time of stop, he can weigh upwards of a couple thousand pounds. So you need something that's overbuilt and able to handle that intense amount of shear strength for the momentary fraction of time that it will be under that load. That's why it's so overrated. Plus, there's also a safety factor involved. No good engineer will ever design anything without the 20% fudge factor. You can ask any of them that. They'll say, oh, yeah, well, the part could be the size of a credit card, but if I did that, it would only be as strong as the metal, so I'm going to make it about the size of a brick. Is it really going to hurt anything? No, it's just going to be a little bigger.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Now, what else were you guys going on about? I saw, cigarettes and EDC and...
Yep. Well, that's what we're talking about today. For the
Well, I can tell you for a fact, if you're talking about prepping and going into the zombie apocalypse, cigarettes are going to be the least of your concerns. You got a bunch more things to worry about. Unless you got some tobacco growing out back behind your house, you got other things to worry about besides trying to find your lighter, trying to find your cigarette, making sure you got a cup of coffee going so you basically can kick back and light one up.
okay.
Speaking of in the field behind your house, Yvonne.
Well, you can grow tobacco, you can smoke the tobacco, and then you basically can then shred it and sell it off as, literally smoking or pipe or cigar type tobacco. I mean, it's not hard to grow tobacco. It's just making sure you have a good tobacco and it's been processed correctly.
Okay. Well, I live in shade tobacco country, and like she was saying, the back of my backyard backs up to a tobacco field. So
I can tell you for a fact, though, the stuff that is in your cigarette is not tobacco. The stuff that is in your cigarette is basically paper. They take the tobacco, they make it into this juice they call the mother liquor. They spray that over the paper so it looks like tobacco. They mix a little bit of the waste tobacco from recycled cigarettes that didn't sell the first time around. That goes into the mother liquor, that goes into the cigarettes to make it look like tobacco. It's not tobacco. If you want to know what tobacco actually tastes like, you're going to have to try like that American spirit stuff, from the Indian nations where they actually take tobacco and roll it up. That's a cigarette. The stuff you're getting from Marlboro and Camel and all those other guys, it's closer to a tea bag than it is an actual cigarette made with tobacco.
Oh, okay.
And the flavoring agents, the FDA does not have clue one what goes into your cigarette.
I have been told that the cigarette butts actually if you soak those in water and spread those around your garden, will kill the bugs.
Oh, nicotine is amazing. As a matter of fact, the Raid, the first generation of Raid was nicotine. You would hose that on the bugs, and the bugs would just fall over because nicotine is deadly poison to bugs because you're hosing with such a quantity. I mean, you figure like the amount of milligrams you're taking in from your average cigarette. You know, you figure you drag half the cigarette to your lungs, the rest is going up into the atmosphere. If you were to take that cigarette and you were to put it in acetone and you were to extract all that nicotine out and you were to put it in your body, you would die. It would kill you flat out. As a matter of fact, it's an old CIA trick I'm sure that the secret squirrel types have well been aware of. But you basically take a pack of Copenhagen, you soak the can's contents in acetone, you then load that up in a syringe, you shoot somebody up with it, they are one dead duck.
Wow. Did not know that. I don't recall 007 ever doing that.
Nicotine is one of the most efficient poisons on the planet. But in small doses, it is the least harmful thing in a cigarette. You could probably do nicotine for the course of your life, and it will not kill you. It's the delivery thing that basically is what does all the damage.
Oh, okay.
Smoking a cigarette, you are loading yourself up with aromatic hydrocarbons and a whole witch's brew of other stuff that's just not good for you whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm the worst kind of smoker. I'm an ex-smoker. Meaning if you light one up near me, I'm going to be like, dude, you reek. Get away from me.
Well, that's hopefully we'll all, except for Castle, because I guess medically she needs to, but all the rest of us will become successful ex-smokers.
Well, she's working her way towards her iron lung. I mean, she's saving up those what were those, the rolled gold tickets or something like that. I forget what they were. It's years back. It's almost like before me, but
Believe me, if I did not have to, I wouldn't. And I don't buy the packs. I roll my own.
Well, I've heard there's another way of smoking, but the after effects of murder, it has something to do with like the enema version, but no, actually there is an actual okay. I'm going to pull out some of my pieces of bits of odd knowledge. The old phrase about blowing smoke up somebody's butt, that has part and pretense in historical reference. There actually was a device where you could blow tobacco smoke up somebody's bum, and supposedly there was a medical. They thought it had some kind of therapeutic thing to it. And you actually look up, blow smoke up somebody's butt online. You will actually find a device. It's this very ornate-looking thing, and like it's some very Victorian box with printed script on the inside, and it has like all kinds of little add-ons and little blower type things, and it probably looks like a hookah that you stick up somebody's butt and then work like a fireplace bellows. But the old phrase about "don't blow smoke up my butt," that's exactly where that comes from.
Okay.
So basically, they were butt chugging tobacco.
Wow. Well, now we're going to go back to the topic of the day. Or I didn't mean to actually drag it out for that long about the stop smoking.
Or the other ways to smoke.
Jen.
Yes.
Because yours is so nice and neatly organized. Let's see what you have in your EDC.
Well, when I am not running around doing paperwork and stuff like this is my normal purse. So I don't have this big honking thing that I carry around unless if I'm running around doing paperwork, then I've got a bigger bag. And I have a couple different knives in it. I have kind of a multi-tool knife.
It's hard to beat the pocket toolbox.
Huh?
It is hard to beat the pocket toolbox.
Yeah. And then, I've got 2 packets of gum I usually keep on me at all times. But I have my little carry thing, which I'll go into. I have a first aid kit, and inside my first aid kit I have a lighter, I have needles. I have another little
Swiss Army knife.
Knife. I've got a little bit of thread and some dental floss. So I can
And
do
wipes.
quite a bit with all that.
And
Okay, I
some
got an
wipes.
adjunct that you might want to think of, Jen.
Yes.
It'll take up almost no room whatsoever, but a barbless hook and some fishing line is very good impromptu sutures.
Yeah. I've got that in my other kit. I just didn't have it in this one. Well, I don't have. I think it's barb, but I've got pain meds and then female stuff. So, okay, for the it's not opening. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. It's never done this. Why is it doing that?
Oh,
Oh, it's got the time. Yeah, okay. All right, for my little everyday carry type of thing, I've got some zip ties, which, here, I'll bring this down a little bit so it's easier to see. So I've got zip ties that I can help build a shelter. I've got a little candle. I have, it's like just a little keychain flashlight. It's very small, but it's very bright.
You carry all this in your purse?
It's in this little thing that I carry in my purse. Yeah.
It looks like a Studio 54 special.
I don't know. I found it at a garage sale for $1, and I
Got
picked it up and I liked it. So
I was going to say it kind of looks like a man purse, but yeah, that's a worker.
I don't care. It works.
glue
I've
stick
got a glue stick
for clogging wounds.
and making repairs. I've got a thing of fishing line. I wrapped it on a fishing hook. It is small, or not a fishing hook, popsicle stick.
Crafting
But I
stick.
want to put it on a spool, but I couldn't find my little spools, and
We used a drill on one end.
yeah, I just stuck it into the drill, and then I just
Wrapped around it.
wound it. I have a lighter.
Fire starting
I have
And-
one of my
products.
no, what? Yeah, well, I will be carrying them in my store, but it has a
Flint and
the
steel.
flint, the magnesium, and you can also shave the.
I've seen those units. Those things are hell for stout.
These I cannot keep them at the gun shows. They fly off the table quicker than anything. So
I've seen those with like like a nice fat ferrocerium rod, a huge piece of magnesium, and the best ones I've seen of those has a compass in the bottom of the wood piece.
yeah,
These are not.
Excuse me. These don't have the compass, but yeah, that would be. I do have a compass right here. I have just this little tiny.
And of course, the best thing is the wetter the wood, the better the magnesium burns.
Yeah.
You said
I
they're
have
wetter?
another.
Yes, because it actually breaks down the constituent parts of the water. It actually makes the hydrogen and oxygen break off because the magnesium burns so very, very hot. It actually makes a more intense flame.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
I do have another knife. I have a fast fire tender cube.
Oh, those things are awesome.
I love these things. Those are my website. I have a little packet here. I stapled. It has
Hooks.
couple sizes of hooks, and it has 3 little worm.
Leech.
Plastic
leeches.
Yeah.
Rubber.
Okay, I got a funny one for you. Supposedly, you're really not supposed to do this, but what is one of the one things you can squirt on your lures that catfish love?
What?
This will shock you and crack you up. WD-40. They can't get enough of this stuff.
Yeah, but that's illegal in most
Oh,
areas.
it's really don't do that, but they love it. It's like, for some reason, they just adore that kerosene, greasy, oily thing, and they just pounce on it.
Yeah. I have a very, very small bobber. I have a paracord bracelet, and I normally have one on my wrist. But somebody...
Is that the one that has the whistle on the buckle?
No. This is just a...
Cobra Reef.
Yeah. This doesn't have a buckle. I have finger chapstick.
That was mine.
No, yours is in your kit. I have just an emergency shelter, a blanket, dental floss, again, and then I have, which I'm learning about the traps and the snares and all that. So, with Rich's help and Foggy's help, I've put together some snares, and I have them in already. And I have an emergency saw, which, you know, this could be used for many different things. It can be used to hold a fishing pole, or you can use it for a snare. You can use it, you know, there's different things.
The snare.
Plus cutting the wood.
How do you do the snare?
We'll go through it later. So that's what I have in my kit, and I'll be revising it, but it's what I have at the moment, and it doesn't weigh that much, so.
Snares are a lot of bang for the buck in terms of their size and weight.
They are, but you got to have a bunch of them, though, to make your chances worthy of anything.
But
Yeah.
it's also a very zero effort, because you come by and check it out, and it's doing all the work on its own.
Well, and that's why I think I have like 4 or 5, and then I've been told, which we're going to be practicing them with the paracord, I can make even more snares. And
Something that does help your chances a lot more than just trying to trap animals, which fishing is a lot easier, is these little guys right here.
What is that? Right.
These are fishing yo-yos. You basically attach it to a place that's standing. You pull out. You attach your hook and your bait. You pull it out, and you throw it out in the water. And when it grabs it, it automatically jerks it and pulls it in for you or holds it.
Okay, there's another version you can do, too, I've seen, is the guys basically use, like, soda bottles and bleach bottles, and they'll drop a hook with some bait on it and just let it float down, you know, just above the bottom, tied to the jug. Then if a fish snags the jug, they have the jug tied to something against the shore so they can't get too far away, but the jug keeps the tension on the line, and the fish can't get, you know, away because it's now on the hook, but also the fish stays alive because it's underwater.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's one little thing I picked up the other day.
And that is
A mini fishing reel and a mini fishing pole.
And where did you get that
I've
from?
seen those.
No,
And it weighs next to nothing.
where did you pick that up at? Like at Walmart or?
No, I picked these up off of, I think it was eBay. And it was only like $7 or $8. And it does work. I've tried it. But when it comes to, you know, like say a get home bag or something.
Oh, yeah, the cigar tube fishing rod. Those are cool.
Yep. And you're talking about something light that doesn't take up a lot of room, and you can, you know, because fishing's a lot more easier than trying to hunt with a bunch of snares. I mean, some of the top guys that we know, John and Rich, you could put 20 traps out. Like Foggy said that one night on our show that one night. He would put out 40 to 50 traps and might catch 1 to 2 rabbits.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, but it never hurts to have them. I mean, it spreads you out more. You know.
Yeah, but then the other rabbits are making fun of those two, so I'm sure he had a really bad week after that.
Yeah.
It depends on how big of a EDC you have. You know, this I didn't want because I hate carrying a big purse all the time, and I wanted something that was small. I've used this type of purse for
But
many
you
years.
know, Rich came up with he said a really great, interesting thing earlier. What if somebody grabs that bag of yours?
I usually have mine. I never carry it. I always have it.
Oh, okay. Yours is not a standard. It's not a standard purse. You know, it's
I could carry it over my shoulder, but I hate carrying it. I want hands free.
Yeah.
I like. This is how I go around when I'm grocery shopping, when I'm doing whatever. I have it around me, and I don't have to worry about it. You know, if somebody takes this, they're taking my neck with it. So, you know, it's less chance of somebody trying to take
All
off.
right, humorous adjunct. This is the bad robber story, but I thought it was pretty funny. Guy goes in to rob a bank, right? Does the usual, presents the note, shows off the piece. The teller's like, okay, fine, here you go. Gives him some packs of money, throws him one of the packs of cash, has a die pack in it. What does the smart guy do? He throws the explosive die pack in his pants and runs out the door. It's, I guess you know where this is coming from, but it's got a timer built on board, and they put notices and warnings right on those die packs saying, do not have these things close to body when they go off. Needless to say, this guy's got orange stuff, and he's got orange stuff for life.
Okay. Orange stuff for life.
Just think about the guy in the shower. He's got like the lower half of him is orange.
Ew. Okay.
I think he's probably got a nickname in jail now. He's probably like, you know, half stripe or something.
Alrighty. Well, now it's my turn. And I'm in the process of actually trying to do EDC because I'm one of those people that I change purses all the time. I have this, my most recent purse is this. And this is one of those that, you know, go over body.
That looks very utilitarian.
This could actually qualify as a weapon if I were to go upside your head with it.
I was going to say, it looks pretty formidable.
Yeah. I have the cell phone, which is attached, but I clip it with so that it is not likely to fall on the ground if this one is actually very tight. Can I? This case is actually a very tight clip, so I'm doing good on that. Now, what I have taken to doing is because, like Mike had mentioned earlier, about everything falls to the bottom of the. Can somebody mute the TV in the background? Because we're not. Whoever's got the TV playing, can you mute? Okay. I've got the little carabiner that you know, your kind that you can get, you know, 2 or 3 in the package. Just
Hey,
so that.
like some of the keychains that back in the 80s were.
Yep. I love these little clips, and I actually have things color coded. So if I need to grab and go, it's by the side of the bed, whatever purse I'm usually using. I can do a visual check real quick. The red is my car keys, and that way I know I've got the car keys. And on here, I have the car alarm. And one safety feature wise, if you're in your house, if you press the alarm button, well, hey guys, yeah, I pushed it. Okay, I managed to get it shut off. You know, from the bedroom, if to get the neighbor's attention, you push the alarm button for the car alarm, and if it just keeps going and going and going, the neighbors might kind of look and say, "Well, what the heck's going on?" Because the power grid. Maybe your home alarm system isn't working because the battery, it's been days and days and the battery hasn't recharged, but your car's still working, so that's an idea to keep. The other thing I have is my wallet's ID. Actually, a picture of my loved ones, why I want to get home. And in here is my whatever little change I might have. Nail clippers, all those wonderful loyalty cards, and bottle opener. Because I'm not one of those people that can just twist the little bottle openers and get it off.
Where's that coming from?
I'm not sure who's. I'm back feeding.
I don't know. My mic is muted.
Okay.
And I've been muted.
The wallet, which has a little bit of spare, change to get home.
I like the bottle opener. Like, you never know when you're going to come across a wild bottle you need to open up and drink.
Yeah. Hey. You never know.
I always say the Swiss Army is one of the most formidable armies on the planet. They could take you apart with a screwdriver, and they've always got a corkscrew.
And I've got the knife, not knife, the lighter. I've got umpteen lighters. And the purse is big enough that I can throw some stuff in. Because, hey, if you have to leave the car, put a note on it. Flat tire, out of gas, whatever, gone for help. So that way, hopefully, the police will be like, okay, we're not going to ticket the car, and they can go looking to see, okay, did she go north or did she go south or on the highway?
Now, do you actually have like something built into your car, kind of like a car box? I did a video on that on my YouTube channel, but there's actually something I call it a car box, where you basically have a standalone unit that is just a grab and go of like, survival stuff, food, water, what have you.
Yes, I actually have a bucket, and that will be next week's show.
Sweet.
Okay. Pocket Constitution, and the little mini Book of John. Day planner. Combs, etc. And I need to get this extra reading glasses. More paper, more paper. And the munchies. And the mints that I'm going to be needing. And some pens and pencils. Inside, some more mints, ladies' things, tissues, and this one.
And a brick.
Just about. Now, I did have to take I went to court on Monday because I was checking a few things out that I needed to find out information-wise. So I had to take out, like Mike had said about the sharp stuff.
I got an adjunct to that that's kind of humorous. You guys may or may not know, but I actually got married in Florida. I actually did get married on Disney property. And to get my marriage license in Florida, of course, you go to the courthouse and you do all the various stuff that there. They busted me for my carabiner and said I can't go into the actual area to get my wedding proceedings and license and all that good stuff like there, because the deputy's looking down and goes, oh, no, that's too much like a weapon. I'm like, how is this a weapon? And she goes, well, if you put your hand in it and punch somebody. I was like, if you punch somebody with a carabiner on your hand, you're a dumb butt, because the gate's going to come back and pinch the snot out of you, or you're going to run your hand into it and bust your hand. It's not a brass knuckles. But she goes, oh, no, this looks too much like a weapon. So I had to go back out and put it in the car to go back in and get my my wedding license.
I took a bunch of stuff out. This is my knife. I suppose I can get closer. It's just a folder. I haven't really done much as far as really worrying about keeping a knife. This was more kind of in the car than actually on me. 49 and a half years. Owned plenty of knives, but most of them have were the little pocket knives that got lost because I just had them around in pockets. And
well, a big problem with knives, and a big problem with people who don't know. They get all this information. Do you have to have this stuff to build a shelter? You have to be able to build this and build that. If you're in a car, you have a shelter.
That's a shelter, right.
If you're close enough to a building, it's shelter. I mean, anything, your shelter starts with the clothes on your body. So when people go, oh, I've got rope to make a shelter, I'm thinking, where do you intend to be? That you're going to be there long enough to actually want to build some sort of shelter when you can walk another mile or so and get to a building or, a farmstead or something to be under shelter. I don't understand a lot of the stuff that goes on where people talk about building a shelter. Well, sure, if you're out in the middle of nowhere in Alaska or Canada, out in, down in Brazil or something like that where there's no shelter around, basically most you're going to cut with that knife is strings, cordage, an article of clothing. I mean, that's fine. That's what a knife's for, and any knife beats using your finger.
Right.
I have an adjunct I got to add to that. If you're using your car as a shelter, do not build a fire in your car.
No, you really should not. The candle actually, though, will heat your car up a little bit, so that you can turn in, like we just had a blizzard. So that if you're stuck in the snow, and you have a small tin candle, lighting that candle with the window just cracked a little bit so that you don't have too much of the smoke from the candle, because you don't want to run your car the whole entire time until you run out of gas. You run it for a little bit and then you shut it off, and the heat that's generated from there with that candle, it will keep you from freezing. Make sure if you get stuck in a blizzard that you do go out and clear the tailpipe so that the carbon monoxide doesn't come back into the car.
Yeah, but your cars are really not well insulated. It'll get cold quick if you don't do that with the candle.
Yeah, and make sure you always bring a blanket in your car in the wintertime, no matter where you live.
Yes.
No matter where you live, take a blanket with you in the wintertime.
All right, I got a cute one for you. How much horsepower do you figure it takes, because of all the glass in your car, because it's basically a rolling greenhouse, how much horsepower does it take for your car to run the air conditioner to keep your car cool?
Oh, I don't know. Air conditioner doesn't work.
Yeah, I got 250.
Typically, for your average family car, to run the air conditioner to keep your interior cool sucks 5 to 6 horsepower off the top of your car's performance.
Wow.
No, I got 250. I got 2 windows down and 50 miles an hour. We got air conditioning.
Oh, that's the 550. That's 5 windows down, 5th gear, and 50 miles an hour.
The other thing I had to take out because of court was my sewing kit, because it's got the scissors and the needles. So just to be on the safe side, I took that out. Now, the one thing that I did get, like I said, I haven't been really carrying the knife until just recently because I'm like, all right, what do I need a knife for? Because, like I said, as a child, is when I had the most knives, and I was constantly losing the little Swiss Army pocket knives. The most that I ever really did with them was sharpen a couple sticks because, well, we were poking stuff and trying to build stuff when we were kids, or sharpen pencils, and I think that's mostly what we sharpened. But I got this little fun multi-tool from Cabela's. It's pink. So I'm like, I could actually, use the pliers if I'm in the car and actually would have a need for them. But the tool probably that I'll end up using the most, because it has...
Is the toothpick.
Nope, doesn't have a toothpick. Is the actual scissors. And it does have the little mini saw and another top opener, bottle opener. And this, I'm thinking the way that it is, I don't know if you guys can see that. Is that coming through? It's like a sort of kind of like a Phillips head. It's not a full Phillips head like I see that, most of the multi-tools have, but I'm like, okay. And it also has its little straight blade and the flathead screwdriver, which would definitely, in a car, be of some use. But I do actually have a full-size Phillips and a full-size flathead and a hammer in the little toolbox in the car. Oh. But it's like
it is amazing what you can do with a couple of screwdrivers and a good pair of vice grips.
No, wrench. I don't have a vice grip. Wrench. So that was this bag.
For the car, I would also suggest a pair of leather gloves, work gloves. So if, like, the muffler gets tore off and it's hanging there, you can reach under and grab it and yank it the rest of the way off without cutting yourself. Or the wheel well comes down. You can rip that off or rip it back or whatever so you can continue on.
Yep. And make use of that.
And Avon and I both know that one other prep you should have is AAA Plus with 100-mile towing.
Yes. Especially when you are going out. But especially for single females, most of us don't necessarily know how to change a tire, or like myself, I don't have the strength to be able to. I've got a bad back. And it's a heck of a lot easier to call AAA. They can come, so long as I got a spare tire in the back of the car, they'll change it out. If I don't have the spare tire in the back of the car, they're towing me 100 miles. I can either get towed 100 miles to the garage that I need to have it repaired at, or 100 miles home. And most of the places that I am going to visit are most likely 100 miles away. And if they're not, at least if I'm in another state, AAA is across the nation, and I doubt I'll be leaving. Like if I'm visiting, a relative out in California, most likely I'll, if we're driving in a car, it may not be my car, it may be my aunt's car. The AAA goes with me, so if she has a breakdown, I can call up and say, hey, AAA, we need to tow. I'm in my aunt's car. And they'll come and tow us the 100 miles over to her house. They also have an RV service that if you have an RV, I think that's part of Premier, where you get the 100 miles free towing, but they also will if you know, whatever it is kind of tow truck that you would need for the AAA.
Okay, can I add something on that one?
Sure.
All right. If you guys have a true four-wheel drive, most of the time you can take those and you can put those in neutral and they can be towed on any kind of tow truck. If you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, that vehicle is going to need to be removed from the road surface on all four wheels. It's got to be fully suspended off the roadway, because what's going to happen is it's not a true four-wheel drive. It's always partially engaged. It's just the way the systems work. It's not running by gears. It's more like all kinds of like fluid clutches, and it's really sophisticated stuff. So if you drag it with the front end up in the air and the back end on the ground, it's going to detonate on you. After about 50 miles, that thing's going to be trashed.
Wow, see, I didn't know that.
If you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, it's got to go on a flatbed or it's got to be dollied.
I think ours is the regular. I don't know. Station wagon. They've always come and flatbedded us.
Is it a Subaru?
No, it's a Mercury. The Ford, the Mercury Marquis Ford Taurus that are.
Oh, that's front drive. You're fine. Back wheels you could drive that thing until the back end falls off.
Don't give the car the suggestion of back wheels coming off.
I'm not going to touch that one. It is a Ford product, and I like Hondas.
If Avon had horses, they'd all be dead by now.
Avon.
Yes.
One of the things that I had discussed with you earlier today that I keep and I forgot until you guys were talking about is their honeys. They are pure liquid honey inside every drop. They're menthol eucalyptus cough drops.
Okay.
And I have that because the honey is good for you if your sugar gets low or something. And the only thing is the menthol can make you a little thirsty. It's, that's the bad thing. In my big bag, I always carry my traveler with me because I use that for just regular water anyway. But I always have these in my pack as well.
All right, I got a question. Have you tried dropping that into a glass of hot water to see if it makes a decent tea?
No, I haven't.
What you're talking about, Mike, though, is if you have like the store brand of the Hall's menthol, what we do is the honey lemon, add that to the cup of tea, and that actually helps because it's got that, as you're drinking the tea, the vapors are coming up and helping to clear out the sinuses, and the cough drop ingredients are going in your system, so it helps to soothe your throat as well. And whoever's got the TV, please mute.
You're always the one that usually has the TV. Usually.
Yeah, but they have very specific for the Hangout on air. If the whatever program that they use, if it tags you as having the like a TV in the background, and we might not be able to understand what's being said in the background, but the computer can, and it will flag you, and then you won't be able to do Hangouts on air anymore. So that's just to keep that in mind.
Because you're putting on licensed property.
Correct, the copyright. So yeah. That's why they're doing that, well, saying that. Because you know me, I don't normally care. But for Google Hangout on air, that's one of the requirements. Nothing in the background that you do not own 100% of the copyright or have proof that you have written permission to use it.
Well, I paid the cable bill. I should have some kind of license.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, I'm looking at the time. We've actually gone past 10 o'clock. And thank you, everyone. I've had an enjoyable time. And I hope you will come and join us over at prepsteadingnetwork.com. Every night this week we've had some kind of show, except for today. My shows are on the Google Plus, and they will be Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. And hopefully we will be able to embed the programming so that those who want to actually be in the chat room over there can actually be in the website rather than coming out over here to YouTube for the Google Plus Hangout. I thank everyone, and I hope that our sharing has been fun and educational. And if you've got questions, please feel free to send us a question on the YouTube video, which will, when we stop broadcasting this, will render and be on the YouTube channel. So thank you, and have a beautiful day.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.